Welcome to the world's largest smoking pipe. You know, that thing? I don't know what it's called. It's like that thing that, like, what's his name? The Snowman. Frosty the Snowman has. Pipe, you know? I don't know what it's called. So, welcome to the third attempt of me trying to melt aluminum, because the first two didn't work. I already got the first one on tape, but I didn't get the second one, because it was pretty much a failure. This one, I felt bad about using up all of my dad's charcoal, so I got a smaller chimney. And pretty much, we're going to have the actual container of the molten aluminum on top of that. Now, I'm not really sure how the airflow is going to work, but I have one small hole cut out right down there. You probably can't see because this camera is really pixelated, but that copper pipe is supposed to be going into that, which I'll talk about that in a little bit. This is smaller, so it shouldn't burn as much coal as the other one did, therefore making it more efficient, as some people like to call it. I also got myself some legit tongs. Instead of just using broken fireplace, you know, those big scissor things to move around the logs. I should get some more precision with these, so that I can better lift up the molten aluminum and put it over here to our super high-tech molding center. Now, I don't even remember what century we're in right now because this is just so high-tech, but it's pretty much just clay, and then I carved out parts I needed with some wood. I don't know where the carvings are, but one of them fell down there. My vacuum, it's got a little adapter, which then makes it small enough to go through this copper pipe, which then goes into the small hole inside of the actual furnace part. This adapter, it didn't really stay on. It was made for a vacuum that's smaller than this. It was actually from a little kit that I got a couple of years ago that allowed me to vacuum out some computers, so that's why it's really small. So I had to duct tape it onto the shop vac tube because it wasn't big enough, and now it kind of holds, although my vacuum doesn't sound very healthy with it on. But that's just sending it through, I think that's a 1/2 inch copper pipe into our steam thing. Then for safety I got a brick on there, and then I got an old-fashioned fire extinguisher over here in case things get out of hand. Now we're running out of daylight here, as you can see with this line, so throughout the video you may be able to see this line of shadow go over there. It's about, I don't know what time it is, it's like maybe 4:40 o'clock, so yeah, I better get going on this. Oh no, why is this? This never works. Okay, this is too big for this container, which means I'm probably going to have to leave this sitting in like right here and light one coal, and then I'll have to scoop it up into here with the rest. Just cut myself on that. It's a hazard. So right now that coal is getting hot from the water heater and will eventually be hot enough to ignite, in which I will then take these tongs and put it inside of our burner. Also, something else I found out upon my voyage to correctly melt down aluminum is that apparently there's this stuff that builds up on top of the actual molten aluminum as it's melting, and that stuff needs to be swept off. It's pretty much like impure aluminum. That stuff needs to be swept off, or else your aluminum is going to look something like this, which is fine, but it breaks really easily. It's like, I don't know what you would call it. It's like dry Play-Doh. It's pretty much what this is. And your aluminum is supposed to look something like this. It's just a, you know, it's just silver. I mean, there's a little bit over here, but for the most part this is what your aluminum is supposed to look like, not this. And this stuff, you'll notice it's more like papery when you're melting it, so that's kind of how you can tell the difference. Put another one on here, and we are cooking, quite literally. We are cooking coal until it burns to a crisp. I wasn't kidding about that sun thing, it's already all the way over there. Alright, so I think the coals are about ready to be put in. I'm just going to put in the ones that have been on here, and then I'm going to put in more. We're going to put more on here. heat up. Alright, so we have a tiny flame. You probably can't see it on camera, but you can see it in real life, which means that this is about done. Alright, so I think we're about ready to jump start our fire. Another thing I'm not so sure about is that I don't know if this can is tin or aluminum, so I'm not sure if this entire chimney is going to melt on us. Alright, so I did see some hot coals down there, which means there is a fire. So I'm going to switch to the other side of this because the wind is blowing this way and it's really scary when you got to hold down this pipe. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's working. I wasn't even ready to turn on the camera yet. That was actually really scary. So I was blowing air in here and suddenly this huge flame comes up and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. But then it got really, really big and really, really scary. So then that happened. Looks like the fire doesn't really have enough air to function, so we're just going to keep feeding it some air. See that? Ha! Alright, so we finally got a good fire going, and there's the sun. It's coming out of the bottom, that's funny. This is my only soda can, so let's make it good. Alright, so this is really dangerous and really scary. Seems like this is going to fall off because it doesn't have enough air under there. It kind of pushes everything up. I almost want to get my heating element and kind of go ahead and prop that up. There it goes. Oh, there's nothing to keep that up now. Okay. Try this again. Move to where it can get air. So I think the problem here is that it's not getting enough natural air. I gotta poke more holes in it. It's definitely getting hot because I can smell the Sprite boiling. It's just not hot enough. It puts a lot of strain on my vacuum, so I'm probably gonna have to cut a bigger hole anyway. So I guess I'm just gonna let this cool down and then we'll try again later. Basically I'm just gonna cut a bigger hole, and this is still far too hot because I can see water evaporating off of it. This is still far too hot to touch, but whenever I am able to touch it, I'm gonna cut a bigger hole so that I can have a more direct airflow, and it'll be more air anyway, so that'll be great. Alrighty, it is now later on. Is that a rainbow? Holy cow. No, that's not a rainbow. Got really excited. Anyways, it is now later on. I have drilled more holes. And now we have 5, which means we have 5 times more air, pretty much. Although, that's probably not accurate, but we just have more air. And that means that we don't have to use my little adapter anymore, and that wastes a lot of air. So we get to use this big boy, which just goes ka-chigga. I don't know if my coals are still hot. Oh yeah, they are a little bit. They've been burning this entire time. That's all we have now. Hey, it's burning. Nice. Alrighty then, I was not expecting that. Whoa! Alright, let's get some more coals in here, and then we'll fire up the vacuum again. I think I've done this more than once. What if they made a vacuum, like a shop vac that was built in with a table? That'd be pretty awesome. Let's light this fire, boys. Haha! That does look pretty cool at night. Alright, I'll let that burn for a second because what I'm really doing is I'm getting all the ashes out and then burning the ground beside it. There was a leaf that caught on fire. Give it a chance to warm up. Got a little temperature gauge. If the water inside is evaporating, then it's warm. Whoa. You see all that steam? That means that this can's pretty hot. Huh. This in there. Stay. Whoa. Alright, so this fire is not really getting any air. It's getting too dark to film, so I think I'm just going to end it here. I'm going to have to see how much air a fire needs to actually, like, burn properly. So, yeah.